I removed a terminal disease from a client with the help of Archangel Raphael. Real story? The following story is 100% real. The exact names, circumstances, and identifying information had been modified to protect the identity of the individuals involved, through the same guidelines practiced by psychologists and physicians to publish their case study articles. Earlier last year, I was contacted by a young lady for a healing magic ritual, in the style of a one-wish contract with a spirit. She came to me with a recent diagnosis of a terminal disease. The condition is incurable, and she was told to get her affairs in order. That's a physician way of saying you are going to die soon. It was a difficult situation. She didn't have a chance to tell her family yet. She felt that she could be a burden to ask her family to take care of her. As a rational black magician, I felt there is not much to be done on the medical front. I am not a physician. I took some science classes back in college to know about the disease she mentioned, and I knew I was looking at an end-of-life scenario. I would also never say anything to contradict an official medical diagnosis. I can, as a black magician, offer spiritual aid to make things go smoother, help her gain the inner strength to go through a difficult patch in her life, and set her up with the perfect circumstances for healing. Who knows, maybe an experimental treatment will come along. She can still live a beautiful and fulfilling life. So I recommend Archangel Raphael for this young lady. Archangels are also known to provide immense comfort in the hour of needs. That is exactly what she needs. As part of the standard operating procedure of black magic ritual, I asked her to write me a short paragraph with all her wishes, to be presented at the spirit's altar. The paragraph should be written in the format of the wish fulfilled, thanking the spirit for the blessing it has bestowed upon the seeker. It is also known as a petition. As part of her petition, this young lady wrote, and I quote, "I now live my life completely free of this horrible disease." End quote. As overly cautious black magician, I emailed her back to let her know that it is highly unlikely that the black magic ritual will cure her of her disease, and she should adjust her expectation. Right before I click send, I felt Archangel Raphael tapping me on the shoulder and said, "I got this." And so I just left her petition as it is, and never sent that email about adjusting her expectation. Archangel Raphael needs no introduction, but for those of you who never met Archangel Raphael, he is one of the main archangels in Christianity. One of the first archangels to be officially recognized by the Catholic Church. He was one of the three angels who delivered message to Abraham. Archangel Raphael is recognized as a healing spirit. He is a patron for many hospitals and doctors around the world. Long explanation short, Raphael is the go-to spirit for all matters related to healing and medical science. And so I performed the ritual for this client later that night. Just like all my other rituals, there was fire, there was smoke, there was mantras, there was expensive offerings, there was a spectacular summoning ceremony. And just like all my other rituals, nothing seems to have happened. I am only including this paragraph because a lot of people asked me what happens during a ritual. Honestly, the ritual itself are relatively boring. There is a reason people say, quote, going through the ritual, to denote a practice that is mundane and uneventful. I was very confident that the spirit heard me though, that the spirit got the message and went to work. I have not heard from this client for some time. At the time my practice was growing and I was doing many readings and many rituals every day, so you have to excuse me for saying she was out of sight and out of mind. It is not unusual for clients to just fade away and never be heard from again. It was about 3 weeks from the time of last contact, then she wrote me in this somewhat exacerbated, confused and dejected tone. She actually brought a channeling reading from my store to talk to me. I would have talked to her free of charge, but don't tell her that. She told me her life had been in disarray since the ritual. It was the height of the pandemic, and her regular doctor had been reassigned. There was also some spat about her insurance, something about the status of her employment. Details are beyond my ability to understand, but basically she was about to get kicked out of that hospital system. I wasn't sure what to tell her, but at that moment, Archangel Raphael once again appeared and tapped me on my shoulder and said, "It's okay, I got this." And so I said something comforting to her and she left me a 5-star review. And so, that's the end. Raphael helped this young lady with a feeling of immense comfort. Amazing, isn't it? The end of story. But wait. There is more to the story. For my regular subscribers, you know there are more to my stories after it ends. A few more weeks later, she came back for another reading. She was just as exacerbated and confused as before. Turns out she had to switch insurance company and got herself on board a different hospital system. Her new medical team had done their medical examination, and turns out she was completely misdiagnosed by the previous hospital. The new medical team found no signs of the disease she was originally diagnosed. They said her original diagnosis was so wrong that it borderline on medical malpractice. Her illness was mostly caused by the side effect of an overly aggressive treatment regime. Her health was fine, she never have to make her specialized medical appointments again. When she contacted me, she was genuinely upset, because she didn't know what to think. She was asking me what she should do with the new diagnosis. Clearly, she was so entrenched in the thought of her dying, that when she was freed of the psychological shackles, she didn't know what to do with the good news. It's like Stockholm Syndrome, but instead feeling loyalty to a captor, she was loyal to her disease. I had to explain to her that her nightmare is over, and she can go live her life to the fullness. There might be a time of adjustment to get all the toxic pharmaceuticals out of her system, and with good diet and exercise, she will be back to her healthy self in a month or two. I also recommended her to get some mental health counseling at the hospital. It was at this point, I felt Archangel Raphael tapped me on the shoulder again. He said, "How you like me now?" I was also reminded by the Archangel to read the client's petition again, with the line clearly said, and I quote, "I am now completely freed from this horrible disease." That part of her petition fully manifested. Literally. So what can we take away from this story? First, I only need 2 more miracles to be a saint. Ha ha ha. Well, we can safely conclude that Archangel Raphael is the real deal. It is possible that the Archangel had reached inside my client's body and miraculously healed her from her disease after my ritual. That is possible, but in my opinion unlikely. Even if it is just a misdiagnosis, I still think it is a miracle that Raphael took her out of a terrible situation, and took her in a perfect health situation. In my opinion, the old hospital system was milking her insurance money, with absolutely no regards to her well-being. Had Raphael not stepped in, she would still think she's dying. It would be a terrible way for someone to live their life. In my view, Raphael had performed a miracle. Another point to drive home, and going on what I said in the Mother Teresa story, that medical miracle doesn't always means a spirit reach inside your body and all of a sudden you are healed. I am not saying it could never happen that way. All I am saying is that medical miracle can happen every which way. It could be a new experimental medicine, or a forgotten treatment method that's worth to try again, or a holistic treatment that greatly improved your quality of life, or chance meeting with a research doctor who gives a fresh insight into your situation. When I took on this case, I never thought this could be an outcome, yet the facts are in front of our eyes. So keep an open mind. Many times, the seeker are target fixated on a solution, but the spirits have other ways and means to deliver your miracle. So keep an open mind and be grateful at all times. Had this client framed her wish by some other means, for example, had she wished for money to cover her medical expenses, she would have never experienced this outcome. So, relax and give room for the spirits to do their thing. Another lesson to take away from this case study: that archangels can be just as chaotic as a demon king. There is a general acknowledgement that while working with spirits, there will be a period where the spirit rearrange your life to bring you the result you seek. These rearrangement periods will be very chaotic and it will feel like your life is being ripped apart. For example, you can't ride a bicycle without getting out of your tricycle. During the transition, you will fall many times while learning to ride a bicycle, and you wish you still had that tricycle, but at the end, your life will be so much more evolved. It is generally accepted that demons are much more chaotic than angels, which is not the case here. During the time when this client had to switch hospitals, I can feel a genuine despair in her tone. As the events unfold, she felt like her life was falling apart. Her world was turned upside down, but at the end, she got the best possible outcome. This case also gave some good insight on what it meant by chaos. Most people know about black magic chaos but was never given context. It will feel like you are experiencing bad luck, and you will need to stay strong, have faith, let go of what you are holding on, and continue to work with your spirit no matter how crazy the situation you find yourself in. One last teaching point. There is a general consensus that angels work slower than demons. It is not the case here. The whole event, from the time she contacted me to the time she was medically cleared, took around 10 weeks to unfold. For the people who had experience with any kind of sorcery, witchcraft or black magic, you know this is breakneck speed. Angels, especially archangels, do make sure to bring you the best possible outcome, the type of outcome that's long-lasting and in the best interest of all parties involved. As such, they are taking extra time to make sure things will unfold the best possible way. Angels are usually very subtle. They want you to believe you've done everything by yourself, because angels don't like to take credit, so they usually hide their footprints, so it will feel like they were not there at all when you summon them. They understood their presence could negatively influence a person's psyche. For example, some people may not try as hard knowing that angels will intervene, or some people may spend all their resources worshipping the angels and not do what they are supposed to do in the physical world. An archangel would show an adept black magician of their presence, but only if the operator is ready and worthy. They would only show their footprint if they think it will help your spiritual evolution, to assure that you are on the right path of ascension, and was sure that you won't freak out. Do you have an experience working with Archangel Raphael? Share your experience on the comments below. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, add this video to your playlist, and share this videos with your friends. Someone out there desperate need to hear this story, and a simple post in your social media can save someone's life.